An Army of Davids: How Markets and Technology Empower Ordinary People to Beat Big Media, Big Government, and Other Goliaths. Copyright 2006 by Glenn Reynolds, published by Nelson Current. This book looks at a variety of instances where the little man or the little man's creativity can put him in control. In Chapter 1, The Change, this chapter looks at how society made the shift from individuals doing specific tasks, such as a blacksmith working on his forge, to the Industrial Revolution, where individuals were now a small part of the solution, doing specific repetitive tasks to create a product. This change brought about vast improvements, but the family unit was separated. Now technology has surpassed this trend and offers the individual the opportunity to create again. In Chapter 2, Small is the New Big. After the recession in 2000, many people who were unable to find jobs decided self-employment might be a better option. With the introduction of Wi-Fi, the concept of working from home became very attractive for those whose jobs allowed them the flexibility to do so. At this time, eBay was fast becoming one of the largest employers in America if you consider the million-plus sellers as independent contractors, which is comparable to the number of people working for Walmart. In this chapter, small business is benefiting from working with big business as opposed to competing with it. Service-oriented jobs like spa treatments became more attractive as people are able to afford them, opening up doors for these service jobs and being beneficial to those who need them. In Chapter 3, The Comfy Chair Revolution, retail realizes that it can maximize on a customer's time and money by creating an environment that says, "Hey, come hang out here." Not only do you go there to buy something, but you can meet friends, study, or even do work. This environment's popularity is due in part to Wi-Fi and laptops, allowing people more flexibility to get more done from a third place. Another concept gaining popularity is customization, and Build-A-Bear is an example of manufacturing and customization working together in a mall environment. In the last part of this chapter, there is a shift, and the First Amendment becomes the topic of discussion. Downtown is no longer the public square and has become the business district in many areas, and not the collection of family-owned stores from days gone by. Malls are now gatherings for all types of people in all different scenarios. However, free speech isn't the norm there. In Chapter 4, Making Beautiful Music Together, technology has created opportunities to create, record, and distribute their own music. What once used to cost large amounts of money in studio equipment and recording time can now be done for a fraction of what it used to cost. The Internet also offers the solution for bands to put their own music online via sites like GarageBand.com, where they can be listened to without having to pay expensive promotion costs. The bands also have a unique opportunity in that the website has done a great job of helping some of the bands find a broader audience. Podcasting is also a popular way that new music is shared to the masses by way of amateur online DJs. Radio, being regulated by the Federal Communications Commission, is under stricter rules, and there are blanket licenses with clearinghouses allowing them to play songs without seeking permission. Unfortunately, podcasters don't have this luxury, and it's very difficult to play songs that are published without having to pay a fee. In Chapter 5, A Pack, Not a Herd. Unfortunately, technology can also be used by the bad guys, and terrorists have chosen the Internet to be a place to recruit, train, and raise funding. Thankfully, there are individuals that see this as an opportunity to develop their hacking skills in order to find out vital information about these terrorist groups. Terrorists have realized in order to be more effective, they need to change their tactics, and 9/11 proved that. Bureaucracies fail to see signs, but individual citizens have learned how to identify potential threats and notify the authorities. Training is essential in realizing possible situations before they happen to be able to help. In Chapter 6, From Media to Weedia, is discussing how the importance of bloggers has brought about a more realistic look at reporting. For instance, in Iraq, there are bloggers that are boots on the ground, that are in the thick of it, and at this time when the war was going on, they were seeing things on a day-to-day basis. Big media might not have maybe one or two reporters, but the bloggers are really the lifeblood of the communication of what's actually going on. The web and technology allows these people to be able to report exactly what they are seeing. The chapter goes on to interview two bloggers in Iraq and to get their perspective. In Chapter 7, Horizontal Knowledge. Horizontal knowledge is defined as communication among individuals who may not know each other, but who are loosely coordinated by their involvement with something or someone of mutual interest. Because the internet, a group of people with common interest can unite for a flash constituency and change political thinking. You can find an assortment of different topics on the internet, and there's a lot of different places to plug in with what you think about things with others that think the same way. This chapter also looks back at CB radio and how it was a way that people communicated thoughts and ideas outside the normal way of thinking. And the blog is another way that people are communicating outside the norm. They're getting their ideas out and they are bringing about change. In Chapter 8, how the game is played. This looks at the effect of video gaming, how it can be important, specifically in military situations, and how it can also teach life skills. The military has been using simulations for years to give a more realistic look at what could happen if situations went bad or in a battle situation. War games have also been something that have been used since the 70s for people to develop their mental capacity as well as learn how to cope in different situations. Geeks tend to go toward wargaming in addition with their technology. The Sims, for example, is a way that individual can learn the right things to do and the wrong things to do. And that's just another example of how a game can actually be beneficial to the youth of today. In Chapter 9, Empowering the Really Little Guys. According to the book, nanotechnology nanotechnology derives its name from the nanometer, or a billionth of a meter, and refers to the manipulation of matter at the atomic and molecular level. This chapter looks at some of the trends and study going into nanotechnology, and also some of the things that would be done in the future, how molecules could be manipulated atom by atom to create things, and then once they were finished, to be done away with. But we are looking toward the future. In Chapter 10, Live Long and Prosper. This chapter looks at the fact that people are living longer, but the purpose of living longer is to have better older years. Tests have shown that making relatively simple modifications ranging from caloric restriction to changes in single genes can produce dramatic increase in lifespan. This chapter also interviews Aubrey de Grey, a biogerontologist, but people are living longer. In Chapter 11, Space, it's not just governments. How the U.S. government, so to speak, dropped the ball with the space program, and how the space station is really the only thing they have going, and development is really come to a halt, while other countries like China are pursuing a space development and growing their space program. The chapter also looks at the development of reaching out to other planets, the moon, and even Mars, and potentially how to transform Mars into a Earth-type atmosphere. And in Chapter 12, The Approaching Singularity is a look at life blended with technology as a part of the human body. Regardless, transcending human limitations is part of what science and medicine are about.